Chosen one, stop scrolling. Right now, in this exact second, you were brought to this video, not by accident, not by an algorithm, by something far older, far more deliberate than any code could ever explain. You felt something pull at you when you read those words. Stop scrolling, watch this before anything else. And then those final 3 words, congratulations, you have won. Something inside you sat up, something inside you whispered, this one is for me, and you opened it. And you are still here, and that is not a small thing. Now, I want you to take one breath. Just one. Because what happens in the next hour, what unfolds in this message, was placed in your path tonight on purpose. Heaven did not have you stumble onto a random clip. The architecture of your life, the way every wrong turn and every closed door and every disappointment delivered you to this exact moment, that architecture is not random either. You have been routed here by a hand that has been routing you toward this kind of awakening for years. And whether you call that hand God, or Source, or your higher self, or simply the deeper intelligence that watches over the chosen ones, it does not change the truth. You were summoned, and what you have won, what you are about to be told, is not a prize you can hold in your hand. It is something far rarer. Stay with me, chosen one, because in the next hour, I am going to reveal to you what you have actually won. Why you, and not the millions who scrolled past this video tonight. What the signs have been telling you for months that you almost ignored, and what the next move looks like once you know. Do not look away. Do not minimize this. The very fact that you are still watching is the first piece of evidence. Now, let us begin. There is a phrase that the old prophets used when something heavy was about to land on the room. They would say, "Let those who have ears hear." They did not say, "Let everyone hear." They said, "Let those who have ears." Because they knew that the same message could be poured over 1,000 souls, and only a handful would catch it. The rest would feel nothing. The rest would walk away unchanged. And the handful, the chosen ones, would never be the same. Tonight, you are one of the handful. The mathematics of this moment are stacked in your favor in a way you cannot yet see, and I want you to feel that before we go any further. Let me tell you what I noticed in the past few weeks, because I am betting it has also been happening to you. You have been seeing repeated patterns of numbers: 11, 11, 3, 3, 3. 7, 7. They appear on receipts, on clocks, on license plates. You have stopped writing them off. You have started taking them as confirmations. You have been having dreams that feel different than ordinary dreams. Dreams where someone you have never met is speaking to you, telling you something is coming. Dreams where you wake up with a phrase still in your mouth, a phrase you had never thought of before. And the phrase will not leave you. It echoes for hours afterward. You have been crossing paths with animals that seem to look at you in a way that animals are not supposed to look at people. A hawk that pauses on a fence and turns its head. A deer that does not run. A cardinal that lands on the windowsill and stays. You have been hearing the same songs at strange moments, songs you had forgotten about, songs from years ago, songs that meant something the first time you heard them. And they keep returning to you on the radio, in stores, in the cars of strangers driving past. You have been waking up at the exact same time each night for weeks. 3, 11, 3, 33, 4, 44. As if someone is gently pulling you awake to make sure you have not gone to sleep on what you are supposed to see. These are the signs, chosen one. These are the signs of someone whose name has been written into a quieter book than the books of this world. Someone whose path has been singled out for a different kind of unfolding. And when I tell you that you have won, I am not talking about a sweepstakes. I am not talking about a giveaway. I am telling you that you have been chosen out of a generation of sleepers to wake up into something that most people will live and die without ever brushing against. That is what you have won. The right to be called by your real name. The right to see what your life was built to see. The right to step into a season that has been prepared for you since before you were born. Now there is a part of you that wants to dismiss what I am saying. There is a part of you that says, "This is just a video. I am just being told what I want to hear. This is just emotional manipulation." I want to honor that part of you, because it is the part that has kept you alive through the years when nobody told you the truth. But I want to ask you something. If this is just a video, why are you still here? Why did you not scroll on after the first 10 seconds? The way you scroll on past 1,000 other videos every week? Why are you still listening? Why is your chest doing the thing it is doing right now? Why are your eyes leaking just a little even though nothing sad has been said? You are not crazy. You are not gullible. You are recognizing. And recognition is a different signal than belief. Recognition is what happens when something you have known your whole life finally hears its own name out loud. So let us go deeper. I want to tell you what you have won in 3 layers, because the answer is large enough that 1 layer would not contain it. The first thing you have won is recognition. Most people will live their entire lives without ever being told by name that they were set apart. They will go to their graves wondering if they were ever seen. You are being seen tonight by the source that wrote the original code of who you are, by the line of ancestors who prayed for you long before you were born, by the part of yourself that you abandoned somewhere around the age of 7, when the world told you to grow up and stop dreaming. All 3 are watching you right now. All 3 are saying the same thing. We are still here. We never left, and we are calling you back. The second thing you have won is timing. There is a season in every chosen one's life when the floor opens and everything that was hidden becomes available. Most people walk past their season without ever entering it. They are too busy. They are too tired. They are too afraid. They are too distracted. They are too cynical. They are too proud to admit they need something they cannot fully explain. The season opens, the season closes, and the years that follow the closed season are the heaviest years of all, because the soul knows. The soul always knows. But you, chosen one, are sitting inside the open season right now. The window that nobody around you can see is sitting wide open in front of you tonight. That is timing. That is what you have won. The chance to walk through a door while it is still a door. The third thing you have won is the key. Because being told you are chosen and seeing that the timing is right would be a cruelty if you were not also given the key to the door. And tonight, before this video is over, I am going to place the key in your hand. I am going to show you what was hidden from you since you were a child. I am going to explain why every prayer, every visualization, every affirmation, every effort to climb out of where you have been stuck has only ever moved you a little, never enough. I am going to walk you through the actual mechanism by which a chosen one wakes up. And I am going to show you what science recently confirmed about that mechanism, and I am going to introduce you to 2 discoveries that 2 different scientists, working completely independently, arrived at within the past few years. Discoveries that explain what the prophets and the mystics and the wisdom keepers have been hinting at for thousands of years. But that is for later. Right now, sit with the first revelation. Sit with the fact that you have won. I want to slow down here because I know what is happening inside you. I know there is a question forming, and the question is this: why me? Why now? What did I do to deserve this? And I want you to release that question just for the next few minutes, because the question is built on an old wound. The wound that taught you that good things must be earned. The wound that taught you that you only get what you deserve, and you only deserve what you have proven. That wound is real, and it has shaped your life in ways you cannot count. But it is not the law of the kingdom you were born into. The kingdom you were born into does not run on earning. It runs on belonging. And the only thing you ever had to do to receive what is coming to you tonight is to be who you actually are. The child of light whose name was spoken before the foundation of the world. Notice how that lands. Notice the part of you that wants to argue. The part that says, I am not anything special. I am ordinary. I am broken. I have done too many wrong things to be called a child of light. I want you to hear me very clearly. Every single chosen one in Scripture, every single one, was an unlikely person. Moses stuttered. David was the youngest brother, nobody invited. Esther was an orphan. Peter was loud and impulsive. Paul was a literal persecutor of the church. Mary was a teenage girl in a town nobody respected. The pattern is consistent. The pattern is brutal in its consistency. Heaven does not pick the obvious ones. Heaven picks the ones the world overlooked. And if you have been overlooked, if you have felt invisible, if you have spent years wondering when somebody was going to notice you and tell you that you matter, then you have been wearing the uniform of the chosen the entire time, and you did not know it. The uniform of overlooked, the uniform of the underestimated, the uniform of the ones who never made it to the front of the room. You are exactly the right kind of person for this video to have found tonight. Exactly right. Now, let me show you the signs in more detail. Because what I named earlier, the numbers and the dreams and the animals and the songs, those are surface signs. Those are the markers the universe puts on the outside of your life to grab your attention. But the deeper signs are inside you, and you have probably noticed them too, even if you have not had a name for them. Let me name them now, slowly, and see how many of them ring the bell in your chest. The first deeper sign is what I call the unreasonable knowing. You have moments where you know something is true before any evidence arrives. You know which friend is going to call before the phone rings. You know which job is going to fall through before the rejection email lands. You know, when you meet a person, whether you are going to be safe with them or not. And your knowing is almost never wrong, but you have been taught to override it. You have been taught not to trust it. You have been taught to wait for evidence, for proof, for logic. And every time you have overridden the knowing, you have paid a price. Every time you have trusted the knowing, you have been carried. That is a sign of the gift you were born with. The unreasonable knowing is gamma. It is the frequency of intuition, the frequency of leap, the frequency of seeing what is on the other side of the wall before the wall comes down. And it has been with you your entire life, even when you were taught to suppress it. The second deeper sign is what I call the unfinished aching. There is a part of you that has never been satisfied by the life you built, even on the good days, even when things went well, even when the bills got paid and the family was healthy and the calendar was fine. There was a quiet voice underneath everything that said, "This is not it. This is not what I came here for. There has to be more." And you have tried to silence that voice with all the usual tools: vacations, new jobs, new relationships, therapy, self-help books, wellness routines. Some of them helped for a season. None of them silenced the voice, because the voice is right. The voice has been right the entire time. You did not come here to live the life of an average person passing through. You came here for something specific. The unfinished aching is the homing signal that has been trying to lead you back to your real assignment, Tonight, that signal is no longer underneath everything. Tonight, it is finally on the surface, and it is the loudest thing in the room. Listen to it. The third, deeper sign is what I call the recurring dream of a place you have never been. You have dreams of a landscape, or a building, or a room that you have never visited in waking life, but the dream returns to you year after year. The details get clearer each time. The colors stay the same. The way the light falls in the place stays the same. You wake up from this dream feeling like you almost made it home, almost arrived somewhere you were supposed to find. This is not random firing of the brain. This is a memory that does not belong to your current life. The chosen ones often carry these. They are echoes of the original instruction. They are postcards from the place you came from before you put on this body, and they get more frequent as you get closer to your assignment, because the place is reaching for you, the way a city lights up its skyline at night to guide pilots home. The fourth deeper sign is the strangers who tell you things. The fifth is the way time bends around you in certain moments, where 5 minutes feels like an hour, or an hour feels like a breath. The sixth is the way you can feel weather changing before the sky shows it. The seventh is the way you can walk into a room and instantly read the temperature of every person in it, where the pain is, where the tension is, who is hiding what. These are not psychic powers. These are not parlor tricks. These are remnants of the equipment you were born with before the world taught you to put it down and pretend you did not have it. And every chosen one carries some of these remnants. Some carry more than others, but every chosen one carries at least 3. Count yours, count them honestly, and then sit with the number, because the number is your evidence. I am going to slow down for just a moment, chosen one, because I can feel that there is somebody listening to this who needs to hear the next sentence with their full attention. If that is you, you will know. The next sentence is for you specifically. Here it is. The exhaustion that has been crushing you for the past several months is not a sign that you are failing. It is a sign that you are about to break through. Most people give up 6 inches before the wall cracks. You are not most people. You have been carrying weight that was never yours to carry, and the universe has been waiting for you to put it down so it could give you back what is yours. Tonight, that exchange is being offered. Put down what was never yours. Pick up what was always yours. That is the only transaction that is about to be made. And I know what some of you are thinking. You are thinking, this all sounds beautiful, but I have heard beautiful things before, and beautiful things do not pay my bills, do not heal my body, do not bring back the people I lost. I hear you. I am not promising you a fantasy. I am about to walk you through something measurable, something that has been verified in laboratories at some of the most respected research institutions on Earth. Something that explains, in actual neuroscience, why most of the spiritual practices you have tried have only moved you a little. And then I am going to show you the 2 pieces of the puzzle that finally got mapped completely within the past several years. But before I get to that, you have to be willing to receive. And receiving is the part that nobody talks about. Receiving is the part where the chosen one almost always trips. So let us deal with receiving first. Most of the chosen ones I have ever encountered have a common wound, the wound of overgiving. You have spent your life pouring into other people, family members who never thanked you, friends who only called when they needed something, employers who took more than they ever returned, romantic partners who you carried through their hardest seasons and who left when it was your turn. You have given and given and given, and you have not learned how to receive. And that single skill, the skill of receiving, is the gate that you have to walk through tonight. If anything that is being offered to you is going to actually reach you, because the universe has been trying to give you things for years, and every time it gave you something, you either refused it, or you minimized it, or you gave it away to somebody else before you let it touch you. The pattern has to break tonight, or what you have won will be set down at your feet, and you will step over it, and another year will pass, and you will still be here, scrolling, looking for the thing you already found. So, I am asking you, chosen one, open your hands, open your chest, allow what is coming. The video is the first deliverable, the recognition is the second, the instruction is the third, the key is the fourth. They are arriving in sequence. Receive each one as it lands. Do not push any of them away. Do not start the inner argument about whether you deserve them. You do. You always did. The only thing standing between you and what is yours is the habit of refusing it at the door. Now let us go back to the question of what you have won, because there are still layers we have not opened. I told you earlier that you have won recognition, timing, and the key. But there is something underneath those three that is the real prize, and I want to name it now. The real prize is identity. The real prize is the return of who you actually were before the world started telling you who to be. The real prize is your name, not the name on your birth certificate, the other name. The one heaven knows you by, the one your soul has been whispering to itself when nobody else was around, the one that you stopped saying out loud sometime around the age of 7 or 8 or 9, when somebody bigger than you laughed at it, or shamed it, or told you to be quiet. That name is still inside you. It has been waiting, and tonight what you have won is permission to remember it. There is an old understanding among the Desert Fathers and the early mystics that every soul carries two names, the one given by the parents and the one given by the source. The given name is what the world uses to find you. The other name is what heaven uses to find you. And the work of a single human life, according to that old understanding, is to slowly close the gap between the two names until they become the same name, until there is no longer a hidden self and a public self, until you walk in the world wearing only the name you were given before you were born. Most people die with that gap still wide open. Most people live their entire lives as the costume and never become the soul underneath. But you, chosen one, are being shown the gap tonight, and you are being given the chance to start closing it. Let me tell you what closing that gap feels like. It feels like coming back to yourself after a long sleep. It feels like the moment in a dream when you suddenly realize you are dreaming and you can change anything you want. It feels like recognizing the face of somebody you loved and lost, and then finding out they have been alive the whole time. It feels like exhaling for the first time in 20 years. It is uncomfortable at first, because you have been pretending to be somebody else for so long that the body has forgotten its own posture. But the discomfort passes quickly. The discomfort passes in days, sometimes hours. And what replaces it is a quality of being that you may not have felt since you were a small child running through a yard with no concept of time. The chosen ones call this homecoming. The mystics call it remembering. The old prophets called it returning. Different words, same event. And it is the event that is being placed in front of you tonight. Now you might be wondering, why is all of this surfacing now? Why this season? Why not 5 years ago or 5 years from now? And the answer to that is something I want to handle carefully, because the answer has both a personal piece and a much larger piece. The personal piece is that your readiness has reached a threshold. The reservoir inside you has filled up. The aching has gotten loud enough. The patience for the old way of living has worn through. You could not have heard this message 5 years ago, because 5 years ago you were still hoping the old framework would work if you just tried harder. The trying harder has been beaten out of you by life itself, and what is left, what is finally left, is a soul who is willing to listen. That is readiness. That is what brought you here personally. The larger piece is that we are in a season of waking, not just you. Millions of chosen ones are being pulled out of sleep right now, in this generation, at a rate that has not happened in centuries. There are people in every country on earth, in every economic situation, in every religious tradition, who are simultaneously having the experience you are having. They are seeing the numbers. They are dreaming the dreams. They are walking into rooms and feeling the temperature shift around them. They are stumbling onto messages that feel personally addressed to them. They are waking up at 3:33 in the morning with phrases in their mouths. The wave is rising, chosen one, and what you have won is a place on the wave, not behind it, not after it has passed, on it, while it is still cresting, while the lift is still available. I want you to imagine, for a moment, what life looks like on the other side of this. Not in some abstract way, specifically. Imagine waking up in the morning and the first feeling that arrives is not dread. It is something quieter, curiosity, as if today is a present that has not been unwrapped yet. Imagine sitting at a table with the people you love and being fully present with them, not half there, because half of your mind is running calculations about money or schedule or things that have not happened yet. Imagine making decisions and trusting them, not second-guessing, not rehearsing them again at 3 in the morning, just deciding and trusting. Imagine the heaviness in your chest, the one you have learned to live with, the way you have learned to live with weather, the one you assume is just the texture of being you, simply lifting, not all at once, in layers. The way the fog burns off a mountain in the morning, and underneath the fog, there is a self you have not seen in decades, a self with energy, a self with light, a self with the same magical openness you had at age 6 before anybody taught you to be afraid. That is the future that is on offer tonight. That is what is on the other side of the door you have been led to. And I want to be precise about this, because I do not want to sell you a fantasy that the universe cannot deliver. I am not promising you a perfect life. I am not promising you that all your problems will dissolve overnight. I am not promising you that you will become a millionaire by Tuesday, or that your marriage will heal by Friday, or that your body will be free of every condition it carries by next month. What I am promising you, what I am laying out plainly, is that the engine underneath your life is going to be repaired. The engine that drives every other outcome. The engine of frequency, of presence, of receiving, of recognition. When that engine is repaired, every other system in your life recalibrates. Not all at the same speed, but all in the same direction, toward the life you were originally designed to live. Not the life that was assigned to you by the world, but the life that was designed for you by the one who wrote you into being. So, let us talk about the engine. Let us talk about what actually goes wrong inside a human being that keeps them from living the life they were designed for. Because if you cannot name the wrong thing precisely, you cannot fix it. And spirituality has been failing the chosen ones for decades because spirituality keeps describing the problem in vague terms. Vibrations, energy, karma, blockages, wounds, inner children. All of those terms are pointing at something real, but none of them are precise enough to act on. Tonight, I am going to give you precision. Tonight, I am going to walk you through the actual mechanism in real neuroscience of what shut down inside you, when it shut down, why it shut down, and what it takes to wake it back up. And I am not going to do this in a way that requires you to have a science background. I am going to do this in a way that any chosen one with a beating heart can understand. Here is the first piece of the precision. You were not born broken. That sentence alone is something most people need to hear and then hear again. You were not born broken. You came into this world with a fully operational set of equipment. Your brain, your nervous system, your perception, your intuition, your ability to learn, your ability to feel safe in your own body, your ability to receive love without flinching, your ability to pour out love without depleting yourself, all of it was working. There are photographs of you as a baby and a young child where you can see the equipment running. Look at those photographs sometime. Look at the eyes. The eyes know things. The eyes are tracking. The eyes are taking in the room with the kind of presence that adults pay thousands of dollars in retreats to try to recover. That presence is your factory setting. That presence is what you came here with. And then, somewhere between the ages of 5 and 9, something started to dim. This is not a moral failing. This is not your parents' fault, even though your parents played a role. This is not the fault of any single teacher or church or system. This is a pattern that has been documented now in laboratories at universities you have heard of. MIT, Princeton, Harvard, Stanford. The pattern has a name. The researchers who first identified it called it the decline effect. And what they observed across thousands of subjects is that the human brain produces a particular kind of electrical frequency, an extremely high frequency wave called gamma, in abundance during early childhood. Gamma is the frequency of insight, the frequency of the eureka moment, the frequency of pattern recognition that crosses categories, the frequency of imagination that does not need permission, the frequency of intuition, the frequency of learning so fast that adults cannot keep up. Children swim in gamma. They live in it. It is the default setting of a young brain. And then, beginning around age 7, the gamma starts to drop. It does not drop because of any disease. It drops because of the environment the child is being placed into. Sit with that, chosen one. Because the implications are massive. The implications are that the dimming you have felt your whole life, the slow loss of magic that you can almost still remember, is not something you imagined. It is not nostalgia. It is not the romantic distortion of memory. It is a measurable, physical, electrical event that happened inside your skull, and it happened gradually, and it happened because the systems that surrounded you, the school system, the entertainment system, the parenting style that was applied to you, the social pressures that came online when you became aware of other people's opinions, all of those systems were inadvertently or intentionally suppressing the frequency that made you the magical child you started out as. Decline effect. It has been documented. It is in the literature. It is not controversial among the people who actually study brainwaves, and it explains, in one stroke, why you have been carrying a feeling of loss your entire adult life. Because you have actually lost something. Something real, something measurable, something that can, as it turns out, be restored. Let me keep going. Because gamma is only half of the picture, there is a second piece of the engine that has gone wrong, and it has gone wrong in a different way, and it requires a different repair. And until you understand both halves, no spiritual practice you try is going to deliver what it promised. This is why meditation worked a little but not enough. This is why visualization worked sometimes but not consistently. This is why the affirmations made you feel temporarily better, but did not actually change the conditions of your life in a permanent way. Because the practitioners and the teachers were targeting one half of the engine and ignoring the other. They were trying to wake the child without unlocking the channel, or they were trying to unlock the channel without waking the child. And both attempts fail, because the engine has two parts, and both parts must be running for the engine to do its work. I am going to explain the second half in a few minutes. I want to let the first half settle first. Take a breath here. Just a breath. Notice what is happening inside you. Notice that something feels different than it did when you started watching this video. Notice that the small voice inside you that is normally trying to dismiss everything is unusually quiet right now. That quiet is the gamma trying to wake up. That quiet is the part of you that is recognizing the truth of what is being said. Do not interrupt it. Do not start arguing with it. Just let it stay quiet. The mind that knows is the mind that is silent. The mind that is loud is the mind that is afraid. Right now you are in the rare state where the knowing mind is on top and the afraid mind is underneath. And I want you to stay there as long as you can, because this is the state in which transformation actually lands. I want to tell you a story now. A story about a small girl. The girl is 6 years old. She lives in a house that, on the surface, is fine. She is fed, she is clothed, she is sent to school. The neighbors would say her family is doing well. But inside the house, the girl has learned very early that her natural way of being is not welcome. She is too sensitive. She cries when there is yelling, and the yelling makes her parents angry that she is crying, which makes them yell more. She asks questions about death and God, and where animals go when they die, and the questions make the adults uncomfortable, so they tell her to stop. She has imaginary conversations with someone she calls her companion, and the companion is real to her, and one day she mentions the companion to her aunt, and the aunt tells her to grow out of it. She tries to grow out of it. She does grow out of it. The companion stops visiting. The questions stop being asked. The crying gets pushed into the pillow at night where nobody can hear. And by the time the girl is 10, she has built an entire false self that is acceptable to the adults around her. She has learned how to laugh at the right times, how to nod at the right times, how to disappear at the right times. The cost of that learning is enormous. The cost is the original girl. The original girl is now hiding in a back room of her own mind, behind the false self, and she will stay hidden for the next 30 years. That girl, chosen one, is you. Or it is somebody very like you. The details of the story may differ. The pattern is identical. Every chosen one I have ever met has a version of this story. The dimming, the retreat, the construction of the acceptable self, the hiding of the original self in a back room of the mind, and then the long adult life of vague exhaustion, vague unhappiness, vague reaching for something that cannot quite be named. The reaching is the original girl, knocking on the door from inside, asking to be let back out. Tonight, you are listening to the knocking. Tonight, you are deciding to let her out. And it is not going to be a dramatic event. It is not going to look like a movie. It is going to be quieter than that. It is going to be a settling, a relaxing of muscles that have been clenched for so long you forgot they could relax. A breath that goes deeper than the breaths you have been taking for the last 3 decades. A small, almost imperceptible shift, where suddenly the room feels different and you cannot tell why, except that the original self has come out of the back room and is standing in the doorway of your own awareness, looking at you, waiting to be welcomed home. This is what you have won. Now you are starting to understand it. Now you are starting to feel the weight of it. And I am not done. There is something else that has been blocked inside you, and I have to name it now, because the second half of the engine matters even more than the first half in terms of how your outer life actually changes. The first half, the gamma, the child mind, the curiosity, the imagination, the magic, that piece is what makes the inside of your life feel alive again. But the inside being alive is not enough. You have known people who were spiritually alive on the inside and still completely broken on the outside. People who had deep insight and no money. People who had open hearts and disastrous relationships. People who had visions and could not hold down a job. There is a missing piece for those people. And the missing piece is what scientists more recently mapped in a separate line of research at a different group of universities, and it has its own name. The name is reception. The name is the manifestation channel, and it is what allows the inner life to actually show up in the outer life. Without reception, the chosen one stays a beggar in their own kingdom. With reception, the chosen one walks into the inheritance that was always theirs. Let me explain reception in a different way. Imagine you have a very large bank account in your name, and the bank knows it is yours, but the building that the bank is in has its doors locked. You can stand outside the building. You can read the sign with your name on it. You can know, intellectually, that the wealth inside that building belongs to you, but you cannot get inside to claim it. That is what most chosen ones experience. They know, inside themselves, that there is an abundance waiting for them. They feel it. They have felt it their whole lives, but they cannot get to it. They reach, and they reach, and they reach, and the door does not open. They pray. They visualize. They affirm. They speak it into existence. They read books that tell them to align their vibration. They go to retreats. They take courses, and the door does not open. Because the door has a specific mechanism, and the mechanism is not what they have been taught. The mechanism is alpha. Alpha is the second frequency I want to introduce you to after gamma. Where gamma is the frequency of the awake child, alpha is the frequency of the receptive child. They are not the same thing. The awake child is curious, imaginative, learning, creating. The receptive child is open, soft, allowing, holding her hands out without grasping and trusting that what she needs will arrive. Most adult humans, especially in modern industrialized societies, have neither. They have neither gamma nor alpha. They have something called beta, which is the frequency of striving, of trying, of solving, of pushing through. Beta is the frequency of adult survival. Beta is what your brain has been broadcasting on for the past several decades. And beta is the very thing that locks the door of the manifestation building. Beta says to the universe, "I do not trust you, so I will handle this myself." The universe responds by handing nothing over. Because the universe does not deliver into a clenched hand, the universe only delivers into an open hand, and the open hand is alpha. And alpha has been suppressed inside you for almost as long as gamma has. Now I want to slow down again, because there is somebody listening to this who needs to hear it spoken in a way that connects to Scripture. So let me speak that language for a moment, for the chosen ones who were raised in the church and who have been quietly wondering whether anything that is being said tonight aligns with what they were taught as children. The answer is yes. The alignment is so complete that I'm going to give you a single line of Scripture that contains the entire structure of what I am explaining to you. And once I give it to you, you will see why the prophets and the apostles and the mystics have been pointing at this for thousands of years, and most of the church has missed it. The line is from a teacher who lived in the 1st century. The teacher was speaking to a crowd of adults who were arguing about who among them was the greatest. He stopped the argument by calling a small child to come stand in the middle of the group. And he said, "Truly I tell you, unless you turn and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven." Listen to that line again. Unless you turn, unless you become like little children, then you will enter the kingdom. The structure of that sentence is the structure of everything I have been telling you. The kingdom is not a place you earn your way into through effort. The kingdom is a state of being that you enter by becoming again what you originally were before the world dimmed you. Becoming like a little child is not a metaphor, it is a precise instruction. The teacher was telling those adults, you have lost the frequency you came in with. You have suppressed the equipment that allowed you to enter the kingdom in the first place. You have to turn around. You have to go back. You have to become again what you stopped being decades ago. And only then will you find what you have been searching for. Most of the church reads that verse and thinks it means humility. Stop being arrogant. Stop being self-important. Be humble like a child. That is part of it, but it is the smallest part. The deeper part is what the teacher was actually describing. He was describing a frequency. He was describing a state of brain activity. He was describing gamma, the open, curious, receptive, imaginative state of a child, and alpha, the trusting, allowing, receiving state of a child. He was telling the adults, you cannot enter what is yours until you restore both of those states. And until that restoration happens, you will spend your entire religious life standing at the edge of the kingdom, looking in, never crossing the threshold, no matter how many prayers you pray, or how many services you attend, or how much money you give. The threshold is a frequency, and the frequency belongs to children. This is the most underread sentence in the entire body of the teacher's work. The whole gospel of the kingdom is contained inside that single sentence: become like little children. And the great mistake of the past 2,000 years of religious history is that almost nobody figured out, until very recently, that the teacher was being literal. He was not asking you to be cute. He was not asking you to be naive. He was describing the actual physical and electrical state of the human being in which the inheritance can be received. And he knew, because the source he was channeling knew, that the modern world was going to do everything in its power to dim that state inside its inhabitants, so that the inheritance would remain unclaimed, so that humanity would stay trapped inside beta, striving and grasping and never receiving, generation after generation. The teacher saw it coming. He saw the school systems and the work systems and the entertainment systems and the political systems and the way they would all conspire, without any single villain at the center, to suppress the child frequency in every human being who passed through them. And he left that single sentence as a key that almost everybody walked past for 2,000 years because they thought it was about humility. The key was always about frequency. Now you have it. Chosen one. Now you understand. The instruction has been hiding in plain sight in the most read book in human history. And the instruction is simple. Restore the child within. Restore both halves of the child. The curious half and the receptive half. The gamma and the alpha. The wonder and the welcome. Restore both. And the kingdom that has been on the other side of the wall finally opens its gate to you the way it was always meant to. I want to give you another wisdom figure, because the chosen ones I have known have always responded well to seeing the same pattern through multiple lenses. So, let me show you Solomon. Most people know Solomon as the wisest king who ever lived, but the way he became wise is the part that gets skipped. Solomon was a young man when his father David died, and the throne fell to him. He was not the obvious choice. He was not the oldest son. He was not the most aggressive heir. He was, by all accounts, a sensitive young man who had spent a lot of his life reading and observing and listening. When the throne fell to him, he was overwhelmed by the size of the responsibility. He had a dream one night, and in the dream, he was offered any gift he wanted: long life, wealth, the death of his enemies. He could have asked for any of those things, and any of those things would have been given to him. Instead, he asked for wisdom. He asked for a discerning heart so that he could govern his people fairly. And here is the part that almost nobody connects to what we have been talking about tonight. The wording Solomon used in that dream when he was asking for wisdom has a very specific phrase. He asked for what the original language calls a hearing heart, a heart that listens, a heart in the state of receiving rather than the state of striving, he asked. In other words, for alpha. He asked for the manifestation channel to be open inside him so that the wisdom of the source could flow into his decisions without resistance. And what he received, in response to that single request, was so vast that he became wealthier than anyone in the region, stronger than any of his enemies, more famous than any king of his era, and the wisest human being of his generation. He did not ask for wealth. The wealth came to him because the channel was open. He did not ask for power. The power came to him because the channel was open. The pattern is identical to what is being offered to you tonight. Open the channel, open the receiving, restore the alpha, and the rest of what the source has been holding for you arrives without you having to chase it. But notice what Solomon also did. Solomon was, by reputation, an extremely curious king. He wrote songs, he wrote proverbs, he studied plants, animals, architecture, mathematics. The ancient texts say he could speak about every living thing, from the cedar in Lebanon to the hyssop in the wall. That kind of universal curiosity is not adult curiosity. Adult curiosity is narrow. It picks a field and goes deep. Solomon's curiosity was childlike. It went everywhere. It crossed every category. It saw connections between things that most adults cannot see. That is, gamma. Solomon was running gamma at full strength as an adult, and that is how he could write the kinds of proverbs that still cut to the bone 3,000 years later, and that is how he could solve disputes in ways nobody around him had thought of. The combination of restored gamma and restored alpha is what produced the Solomon legend. Take note. Take careful note. That same combination is what is about to be made available to you. Let me give you another. Esther, a young woman, by all accounts an orphan, raised by her older cousin, who finds herself elevated to queen of a vast empire through a sequence of events that nobody could have engineered. Esther did not strive her way to the throne. She did not strategize. She did not manipulate. She showed up, she remained herself, and she was chosen. And then, when the moment came for her to use her position to save her people, she did not panic. She did not run calculations. She fasted for 3 days, which in the older traditions is a way of quieting the beta state down to almost nothing. She stilled herself. She opened her receiving, and then she walked into the throne room of a king who had the power to execute her for showing up uninvited. And the king extended his scepter and asked what she wanted. The story sounds like a fairy tale, but the mechanism is real. Esther had cultivated the receiving state to the point that the favor of heaven landed on her in the exact moment she needed it. That is what alpha does when it is fully restored. The favor lands, the doors open, the right people say yes, the right opportunities show up, and it does not feel like striving, it feels like flow. Now I have to be careful here, because some of you are listening to all of this, and the cynical part of you is saying, these are just old stories. You are using ancient narratives to justify a present claim. The stories are not even evidence. I hear you. I want to address you directly. The reason I am telling you the stories is not as proof. The stories are pointers. They are pointing at a pattern that, until very recently, you would have had to take entirely on faith. You would have had to read the ancient texts and trust that the pattern they were describing was real, even though you could not measure it. But you do not have to take it on faith anymore, because the pattern has now been measured. The brainwave research of the last few decades has produced exactly the kind of evidence the cynical part of you has been waiting for. Gamma is real. It has been documented in laboratories. Alpha is real. It has been documented in laboratories. The decline effect is real. It has been documented across thousands of subjects. The stress signal, the beta hyperactivity that locks the manifestation channel, is real. It has been documented across thousands of subjects. The science has caught up with the wisdom traditions. The mystics and the prophets and the wisdom keepers were right. They just did not have the equipment to prove it. We have the equipment now, and the equipment is confirming, line by line, the architecture they were pointing at. That should land with weight, chosen one. Because what it means is that you no longer have to choose between being a spiritually open person and being an intellectually rigorous person. You no longer have to compartmentalize. You no longer have to whisper your spiritual beliefs in private while pretending to be skeptical in public. The two streams have merged. The science and the spirit are arriving at the same conclusion. The same architecture is showing up under the microscope of the laboratory and inside the lived experience of the seekers. And both streams agree on the diagnosis. Both streams agree on the treatment. And both streams agree on the outcome. The chosen one who restores the child within and opens the receiving channel walks into a quality of life that the unrestored cannot access, no matter how much they try. I want to circle back to something I touched on earlier, because I think it bears repeating. Most spiritual practices that are sold to seekers are aimed at one half of the engine and not the other. Meditation, especially the kind of meditation that has been imported into the wellness industrial complex over the past few decades, is mostly aimed at reducing beta. It is aimed at quieting the busy adult mind. That is useful. That is a good first step. But quieting beta is not the same thing as restoring alpha. You can quiet beta and end up in a kind of empty stillness that does not actually receive anything. The receiving requires alpha specifically, the open, trusting, allowing frequency of the child, and most meditation practices do not generate alpha. They generate the absence of beta, which is something different. That is why people meditate for years and report feeling more peaceful but not more abundant. The peace is the quieting of beta. The abundance would come from the activation of alpha. The two are not the same. Visualization, on the other hand, tries to address gamma. It tries to wake up the imaginative capacity of the chosen one. And it does, sometimes, for short bursts. But visualization without restored alpha is just a fantasy that does not anchor. You can visualize the life you want 1,000 times, and if the alpha channel is closed, the visualization is just a movie playing inside your head. It does not become the life. The life arrives through the alpha channel, not through the gamma channel. Gamma generates the image. Alpha receives the substance. Both are needed. Visualization alone fails because it works on one without the other. Affirmations are even more limited. Affirmations are an attempt to use language to reprogram the subconscious. They do reach the subconscious somewhat, but the reaching is shallow because beta is broadcasting underneath them. You can say, "I am wealthy 1,000 times a day," and if beta is screaming, "I am not safe," underneath the words, the beta wins. The subconscious always listens to the louder broadcast, and beta is much louder than language. The affirmations slide off the surface of the mind without ever touching the deeper machinery. That is why people repeat affirmations for years and report no measurable change in their actual lives. They are working on the wrong layer with the wrong tool. So what I want you to hear, chosen one, is this. You have not failed at any of the practices you have tried. The practices have failed at the level of the problem. The problem is at a deeper layer than the practices were designed to reach. The problem is at the layer of the actual brainwave frequencies that govern how you experience the world and how the world responds to you. And until the practices target that layer with precision, they will keep producing the same partial result. A little peace, a little hope, a little uplift that fades within days. The full restoration that you have been seeking requires a different category of tool, a tool that operates at the layer of frequency itself, not at the layer of thought or language or imagination. That tool exists. It is now available, and I am going to walk you through it in detail before this video ends. But first, I want to plant something for you to consider while we are still in the territory of the wisdom traditions. There has long been an understanding in the deepest contemplative lineages that two things have to happen in a specific order for a soul to fully arrive in this lifetime. First, the soul has to wake up. Second, the soul has to be able to receive. Both have to happen, and the order matters. If you try to receive before you wake up, the receiving slides off because you are not awake enough to hold what is being given. If you wake up but cannot receive, you spend your life knowing what is yours and being unable to grasp it. The contemplatives knew this. They sometimes called it purification and union. They sometimes called it cleansing and infilling. The language varied. The structure was always the same. Wake first, receive second. And the wisdom of every deep lineage, from the Desert Fathers to the Carmelites to the Hesychast monks of the Eastern Church to the contemplatives of the medieval mystical tradition, has agreed on this order. Wake first, receive second, or, in the language of the teacher I quoted earlier, become like a little child first, and then enter the kingdom that is yours. I want you to hold that order in your mind. Wake first, receive second, because the architecture of what is being offered to you tonight is built around exactly that order. Not by accident, not as a marketing trick, by design. Because that is the order the soul actually requires. The science arrived at the same order the mystics arrived at, separately, and the agreement is one of the strongest pieces of evidence we have that the order is real. Two completely independent lines of inquiry. Neuroscience and contemplative wisdom, looking at the human being from completely different angles, arrived at the same sequence. Wake the child, open the channel, receive the kingdom. That is the recipe. And the components that follow that recipe are the components I am going to introduce you to in the next part of this message. Hold on, chosen one. We are getting closer to the place where the picture becomes complete. We are getting closer to where I hand you the key. But I want to address one more thing first, because I know it is sitting on the surface of your mind, and I do not want to ignore it. The thing is, you are wondering whether what you have heard so far is enough. You are wondering whether you have already received what was meant to come from this video. You are wondering whether you can take the recognition, the identity, the language, the structure, and simply walk away with that, and let that be the gift. And the answer is, that is part of the gift, and you should take it with you. But it is not the full gift. The full gift includes a way of acting on what you have learned. The full gift includes a tool. The full gift includes a path that you can actually walk, not just an understanding you can carry in your head. Because understanding without action is the most common form of self-deception among chosen ones. It feels like progress when it is actually just collecting more material to hide behind. I am not going to let you do that tonight. I am going to make sure you leave this video with a real next step, something you can do tomorrow morning, something you can act on, not just something you can think about. And the next step requires two specific tools, working together in a specific order. One tool for waking the child, one tool for opening the channel. The tools have names. The tools have inventors. The tools have research, lineages. The tools have a price, though tonight I am going to explain why the price is structured the way it is and why it has been made unusually accessible for viewers of this exact message. And the tools have a guarantee. which I will also explain, because I do not want there to be any risk for you in walking the next step of the path. Before I introduce the tools, I want to bring everything we have covered into one clean picture, so that what comes next lands inside an organized framework, not floating in your head as a pile of separate ideas. Here is what you know now, chosen one. You know that you were born into this world running both gamma and alpha at full strength. You know that gamma is the frequency of the awake child, the curious child, the creative child, the child who learns fast and senses patterns and trusts the magic of the world. You know that alpha is the frequency of the receiving child, the open child, the child who lets the universe deliver without grasping for it, the child whose hands are open. You know that both of these frequencies were dimmed in you, beginning around age 7, by a process that researchers now call the decline effect. You know that the dimming was not your fault. You know that it was not a moral failure. It was a measurable electrical event that took place inside your nervous system as a response to the environment you were growing up in. You know that the dimming has cost you something you have been mourning your entire adult life, even when you could not name the loss. You know that what was lost can be restored. You know that the restoration happens in a specific order: child first, channel second, gamma first, alpha second. And you know that two separate scientists, working completely independently of each other, have mapped the exact mechanisms by which each of these frequencies can be precisely reactivated using sound that has been calibrated for that purpose. That is the full diagnosis. That is where we are. Now, I am going to give you the prescription, and I am going to give it to you carefully, because the prescription is what changes a chosen one's life, and I do not want any detail to be lost. Here is what I want you to notice first, because it is the kind of detail that separates the real from the false. The two tools I am about to introduce you to were not invented as a pair. They were not designed by the same team. They were not even being developed at the same universities. The scientist who mapped the first one had no idea, while he was working on his research, that the second one was going to exist. The scientist who mapped the second one had no idea, while he was working on his research, that the first one had ever been developed. And yet, when they are placed side by side, they form a perfect sequence. One restores gamma, the other restores alpha. One wakes the child, the other opens the channel. They function together as if they had been designed as a pair from the beginning, even though they were not. That kind of convergence does not happen by accident in the world of independent research. That kind of convergence happens when an underlying truth is real and two different teams stumble onto it from different angles. It is one of the strongest forms of evidence we have in any field that something genuine is being discovered. The first tool, the one that addresses gamma, that wakes the child within, was developed by a man named Dr. Robert Lake. Dr. Lake is a neuroscientist with 34 years of experience studying brainwave activity in the human nervous system. His research lineage includes work conducted at MIT, at Princeton, at Harvard, and at several other leading research universities around the world. His specialty for most of his career was the gamma frequency. He was one of the very few scientists in his generation who took gamma seriously as a research subject, while most of the field was focused on the more easily measured frequencies of alpha and theta and delta. Dr. Lake watched for decades as subjects came through his laboratory with measurably suppressed gamma activity. Adults whose brains were producing only a fraction of the gamma that children produce naturally. And he asked the question that nobody else in his field was asking. He asked, can it be restored? Can the gamma that has been lost actually be brought back online inside an adult nervous system? And if so, by what means? The answer he eventually arrived at was something called brain entrainment. Brain entrainment is a documented phenomenon in which the brain, when exposed to specific audio frequencies delivered through stereo headphones, will gradually synchronize its electrical activity to match the rhythm of those frequencies. It is not a hypothesis. It is a measurable effect that has been replicated in laboratories for decades. What was new in Dr. Lake's work was not the existence of brain entrainment, but the specific calibration of audio that could selectively target the gamma range. Most prior entrainment work had focused on the slower frequencies, the relaxation frequencies, the sleep frequencies, because those were easier to induce. Gamma is the highest, fastest frequency the human brain produces, and inducing it through audio requires a very precise calibration that took Dr. Lake years to develop. He was not the first researcher to attempt it. He was the first to succeed at a level of consistency that produced repeatable results across thousands of subjects. What he discovered when he ran his calibrated audio across these subjects was that within a matter of weeks, sometimes within a matter of days, the suppressed gamma activity began to climb. Subjects who had been operating for decades at adult gamma levels, which is to say, a small fraction of what they had produced as children, began producing measurably higher gamma. And the changes in the way these subjects experienced the world were profound. They reported feeling more alive than they had felt in years. They reported the return of curiosity that they had thought was gone forever. They reported insights and ideas arriving at a rate they had not experienced since they were young. They reported that childhood memories that had felt locked away, began coming back to them spontaneously with a vividness that surprised them. They reported, in some cases, the literal return of dreams. People who had not remembered a dream in years began having vivid, narrative dreams again. The child within was waking up, and it was waking up because, for the first time, the actual electrical frequency of the child within was being restored at the level of the brain itself. Dr. Lake released this discovery after extensive testing in the form of a single audio file. He called this discovery the Genius Song. The Genius Song is a 7-minute digital audio track. You listen to it through headphones. You do not need to meditate while you listen. You do not need to chant. You do not need to repeat anything. You do not need to visualize. You just put on the headphones and let the audio do what it was calibrated to do, which is to entrain your brain back toward its original gamma frequency. The mechanism is binaural. That means it delivers slightly different audio signals to each ear, and the brain, in trying to reconcile those signals, generates the target frequency on its own. It is a kind of conversation with your own nervous system, conducted through sound, that gently reminds the system what its original setting was supposed to be. And after enough of these conversations, the system remembers. The system snaps back to where it was originally designed to be. The gamma comes back. The decline effect reverses. The child wakes up. The product has been used, at this point, by 18,366 chosen ones from around the world. The data on its effectiveness is unusually clean. The refund rate, which is the number most worth looking at, because it captures the people who tried it and did not feel it worked for them, is below 4%, which means that more than 96% of the people who began using it continued using it past the refund window. That is a very high number in any consumer category. In the wellness and personal development space specifically, that number is almost unheard of. Most products in that space have refund rates well above 10%. The fact that the Genius Song sits below 4% tells you something specific. It tells you that what it does is not subtle. It tells you that the people who use it can feel it working. It tells you that the experience is concrete enough to keep them. Now let me tell you what it does in terms of what you actually notice. Within the first listening session, most chosen ones report a particular kind of stillness that they have not felt in years. Not the stillness of meditation, which is the absence of activity. A different kind of stillness. The stillness of something coming back online inside them. A kind of quiet humming underneath the usual noise of adult thought. By the third or fourth session, the curiosity starts to show up. Spontaneous interest in things they had stopped caring about. Spontaneous questions that they had not asked themselves in years. A renewed sense of wonder that they remember having had as children. By the second week, the dreams change. They become more vivid. They become more meaningful. They become, in some cases, almost instructive. And by the end of the first month, the chosen one, looking back at themselves, comparing how they felt before they started and how they feel now, will report that something fundamental has shifted. Something has restarted. Something that had been dormant for decades is alive again. I want to be precise about what the genius song does not promise, because I never want a chosen one to walk into something expecting more than the tool can deliver. The genius song does not promise that you will become a genius in the colloquial sense. It does not promise that you will solve mathematics problems faster, or score higher on an IQ test, or invent a new technology. Those are not what the audio is calibrated for. The audio is calibrated for the restoration of the child mind frequency, which means that what it actually delivers is the return of the experience of being a child inside your nervous system. The openness, the curiosity, the wonder, the receptivity to learning, the willingness to be surprised by life. These are the things the audio brings back. And these things, when they come back, do not directly make you a genius. They restore the substrate inside which insight and creativity and intuition can happen. The audio is not the intelligence. The audio is the soil. Once the soil is restored, the things that grow in it grow on their own. There is something I want to point out about the way Dr. Lake structured the access to this tool. The original price, when it was first released, was $49. That is a fair price for what it is. There are audio products in the wellness space that cost 3 times that and do a tiny fraction of what the genius song does. But Dr. Lake, knowing that the people who needed it most were often the people who had the least to spend, decided to make the price accessible, specifically for viewers of certain messages, including the message you are watching right now. The price that you can access it at, through the path that I will describe in a few minutes, is $39. That is the entry point. That is what the first tool costs, if you decide that the first tool is what you need. And it comes with a 90-day guarantee, which means that if you use it for 3 months and do not feel that it has done what I have described, you can return it for a full refund, with no questions asked, and you keep all the bonus materials that came with it. I am going to explain the bonus materials in a moment, but I want to first address something that some of you, especially the ones who have been on the spiritual path for a while, are thinking right now. You are thinking, this all sounds wonderful, but I have heard claims like this before, and the claims have not held up. There have been other audio products. There have been other brainwave entrainment programs. Why is this one different? Why should I trust this one when I have been disappointed by the others? I hear that question. I want to give you a clean answer. The cleanest answer I can give you is this. Most brainwave entrainment products on the market are not calibrated for any specific frequency. They are generic. They are vague. They claim to induce relaxation or focus or sleep, but they do not specify which frequencies they are targeting. and they do not have research lineage backing up the calibration. The Genius song is different in two specific ways. First, it targets gamma, which almost no other product on the market does, and which is the frequency that has the largest impact on the experience of being a chosen one. Second, the calibration was developed over 34 years of laboratory work, not invented in a recording studio for marketing purposes. That makes it a different category of product, even though, on the surface, it looks like another audio file. The substance underneath the surface is what matters. Now, let me tell you about the bonuses that come with the Genius song, because they are worth understanding before you decide whether the tool is right for you. There are 4 bonus materials that ship alongside the audio at no additional cost. The first is something called Genius Child, which is a separate 6-minute audio file calibrated for the brain of a young child who is still in the natural gamma state, but who is approaching the age where the decline effect would normally begin. This bonus is for the chosen ones who are parents or grandparents or who work with children and who want to support a young person in keeping the natural gamma alive past the age where it would otherwise begin to dim. It is calibrated differently than the main audio. It is calibrated to prevent rather than to restore. And many chosen ones have told us that the way it has changed their children, the way the children sleep, the way they focus, the way they approach the world, has been one of the most unexpected and treasured gifts of the entire package. The standalone value of Genius Child, if it were sold separately, would be $19. It is included free. The second bonus is a classic book that has been almost forgotten by the general culture, but that is well known among the wisdom keepers as one of the original texts that inspired what later became more famous movements in the spiritual Pars 2seg. .2.R. Finance Space. The popular film known as The Secret drew its core ideas, in part, from this older text. The book is rare, and most chosen ones I have met have never encountered it. The standalone value, if you tried to find it through other channels, would be around $20. It is included free. The third bonus is a guided visualization audio file, 22 minutes in length, that walks the chosen one through 4 distinct domains of life: financial, relational, physical, emotional. The visualization is designed to be paired with the Genius song. Once the gamma is awake, the visualization has something to work with, and the chosen ones who have used the two together have reported that the layered effect is stronger than either tool alone. The standalone value would be $29, included free. The fourth bonus is a 1-page infographic of the 5 daily habits that chosen ones who have successfully maintained their restored gamma report using consistently. It is the kind of summary you put on your refrigerator. The standalone value would be $12, included free. Together, those 4 bonuses represent $80 in additional value on top of the main audio. All included with the Genius song at the $39 price. All delivered immediately by email after purchase. No shipping, no subscription, no upsell after the fact. Just the tool and the supporting materials and the 90-day guarantee. That is the first deliverable. That is the first half of the prescription, the half that wakes the child. There is also something I want to seed for you, even though it is not part of the main package, and even though I am not going to spend much time on it tonight. After you have spent some time with the Genius song, there is a deeper, more amplified version of the same technology that some chosen ones eventually feel called to explore. It carries a different name, and it is reserved for those whose path requires going deeper than the original audio takes them. You do not have to think about it now. If your spirit confirms it later, you will encounter it after you have secured the original. If your spirit does not confirm it, the original is more than enough. Many chosen ones walk the entire journey with only the original, and they walk it well. I am only naming the existence of the deeper version because I do not want you to be surprised by it later. It is called the youthful brain, and that is all I want to say about it tonight. Now we have reached an important crossing, chosen one, because if I stopped here, you would have the first tool, you would have what wakes the child. And for some of you, listening to this video tonight, that is exactly where you need to start. The child within you has been so dim for so long that the first wave of restoration is plenty. It is the whole prescription. You do not need anything else at this moment. You need to wake what has been sleeping. And once it is awake, you will know, in your own time, whether the second piece of the engine needs attention as well. That is a valid path. That is, in fact, the path that some chosen ones walk for an entire season before they consider anything more. I want to honor that path. I do not want you to feel pressure tonight to take more than what is right for you in this season. But for many of you, and I am going to be honest about this, the first tool alone is not the full story. Because waking the child within is one thing, letting the child receive what is hers is another thing. And there is a second piece of the engine that, if it remains broken, will leave the awakened child standing inside a body that cannot reach for what is being offered. The awakened child will know what is hers. She will sense it on the other side of the wall. But the wall will still be there, and her hands will not be able to get through it. And there is a name for that condition, and the name is one I want you to remember, because it is the condition that most chosen ones, even those who have done significant inner work, are sitting in right now. The condition is called the open eyes, closed hands. The chosen one, whose eyes are open and whose hands are closed, sees the kingdom but cannot enter it. And the closing of the hands has a specific mechanism, just like the dimming of the eyes had a specific mechanism. And the mechanism has a remedy, just like the dimming had a remedy. This is the place where the second tool comes in. And to introduce it properly, I have to walk you through what is going on mechanically inside the chosen one whose hands are closed. Because the closing of the hands is not the same thing as the dimming of the eyes. It is a different process with a different cause and a different fix. If you do not understand the difference, you will reach for the wrong tool and you will fail, the way most chosen ones have been failing for years, by reaching for the right kind of tool but for the wrong half of the engine. Here is what is happening with the closed hands. The brain of the modern adult is broadcasting almost continuously on a frequency called beta. Beta is the frequency of striving, of solving, of pushing through, of managing the day, of survival mode. There is nothing inherently wrong with beta. Beta is useful. Beta is the frequency you need when you have to handle a difficult work situation, when you have to navigate a crisis, when you have to perform under pressure. The problem is not that beta exists. The problem is that beta has hijacked the rest of the brain. Beta has become the default broadcast, 24 hours a day, even when there is no actual crisis to manage. Beta has become the wallpaper of the modern nervous system. And as long as beta is broadcasting, another frequency cannot get through, no matter how much the chosen one tries to summon it. That other frequency is alpha, and alpha is the receiving frequency. Alpha is the open hand. Alpha is the channel through which the kingdom flows in. Notice the architecture here. The genius song wakes the child. The genius song reverses the decline effect. The genius song restores gamma. That is all true. That is all real. And that is all only half of what a chosen one needs. Because once the child is awake, the child needs to be able to receive. And reception is governed by a different frequency, in a different region of the brain, by a different mechanism. The genius song does not address that region. The genius song does not touch alpha. The genius song was never designed to. Dr. Lake spent his career on gamma. He left the alpha question to other researchers, and for many years, the alpha question was left unanswered. Chosen ones who restored their gamma through brain entrainment, or through deep meditation, or through other means, would find themselves in a strange new place. They were awake. They were curious. They were creative again. But the conditions of their lives were not changing. The career did not open. The relationship did not heal. The financial pressure did not lift. They could feel the kingdom on the other side of the wall, but the wall was still there, and they did not know why. They did not know that the second half of the engine was still broken. They did not know what to call the broken half. They did not have a name for it, and without a name, they could not find a remedy. That changed recently with the work of a different scientist, a man named Dr. Stephen Newton. Dr. Newton was, for many years, a neuroscientist at Stanford. His specialty was different from Dr. Lake's. Where Dr. Lake was studying gamma, Dr. Newton was studying the boundary between alpha and beta. Specifically, he was studying what happens inside the human brain when beta becomes hyperactive, which is to say, when the broadcast of striving and survival mode becomes loud enough to suppress the broadcast of receiving and trust. He gave that condition a clinical name. He called it the stress signal. And he showed, through his research at Stanford and at Boston University and at Harvard and at several other research institutions, that the stress signal is now the dominant brainwave pattern in the modern adult population. Almost everyone is broadcasting it. Almost everyone has had it broadcasting since their teenage years. And the longer it has been broadcasting, the harder it becomes to interrupt without a specific intervention. Dr. Newton's research went a step further. He mapped the exact region of the brain where the stress signal becomes most rigid. He located it in a small egg-shaped region called the thalamus, which sits roughly in the center of the brain and acts as a kind of relay station for almost every signal that passes between the body and higher cognition. When the stress signal becomes chronic, the thalamus develops what he called neural rigidity. The relay station stops being able to pass anything through that is not already in beta. The chosen one who tries to summon alpha through willpower runs into the rigid thalamus and bounces off. The signal cannot get through. The hands stay closed. The kingdom stays on the other side of the wall. Dr. Newton broke from the mainstream of his field in order to release his discovery in a form that ordinary chosen ones could actually use. The mainstream of neuroscience would have published his findings in a journal and let the discovery sit inside a peer review process for a decade before anything practical reached the public. Dr. Newton refused that path. He believed, correctly, that the chosen ones who needed his work were dying with the work locked inside academic journals they would never read. So, he developed a delivery mechanism, a 5-minute audio file paired with what he calls the 9-word wealth script that together work to deactivate the stress signal in the thalamus and restore alpha to its natural baseline. He called it the wealth signal. The wealth signal is the second tool, and it is the tool that addresses the second half of the engine. It does not wake the child within. The genius song does that. The wealth signal does something different. It opens the manifestation channel. It deactivates the beta hyperactivity. It restores the receiving frequency. It softens the rigid thalamus until the relay station can pass signals through again. It is, in plain language, the tool that opens the closed hands of the awakened child so that she can finally reach for what has been waiting for her on the other side of the wall. The 5-minute audio operates on a different mechanism than the genius song. Where the genius song uses binaural brain entrainment to induce gamma, the wealth signal uses a combination of calibrated audio frequency and a spoken script that the listener repeats in cadence with the audio. The script is 9 words long. It is based on an ancient Hindu technique that is roughly 3,300 years old. The technique was preserved in a small lineage of contemplatives in northern India for most of that time, and it was almost lost in the modern era, before Dr. Newton encountered it during his research and recognized that what the lineage had been doing by feel for thousands of years was the exact neurological intervention his Stanford laboratory was looking for. The convergence was uncanny. An ancient practice developed without any knowledge of modern neuroscience was producing the exact alpha restoration that his instruments were measuring as the solution to the stress signal. He combined the audio calibration with the 9-word script and produced a single 5-minute file that, when used consistently, deactivates the stress signal and restores the manifestation channel to its natural state. The product has been used by 19,583 chosen ones. The refund rate is below 5%, which means, again, that more than 95% of the people who try it continue using it past the refund window. That is, again, an unusually high retention number for a digital audio product. And it tells you the same thing the Genius Song retention number tells you. What this tool does is not subtle. The chosen ones who use it can feel it working. The experience is concrete enough to keep them. Let me tell you what it feels like in the first weeks. Most chosen ones, after their first session, report a particular kind of settling, a kind of relaxation in the chest and the shoulders that they had not felt in a very long time. Not the relaxation of falling asleep, a different kind, a kind that stays with them even after they take off the headphones. Within the first week, they begin noticing small synchronicities that did not happen before. A check that arrives in the mail without explanation. An old friend who calls out of nowhere with a useful introduction. A small piece of money that finds its way into their life that they were not expecting. These are not large events. They are tiny signals. They are the early indicators that the manifestation channel has begun to open. By the second week, the signals get larger. Opportunities begin to surface. Doors begin to open in places where the chosen one had not even thought to look. Some chosen ones report a particular shift in the way they feel about money, where the underlying anxiety that has been their daily companion for years begins to soften, and they find themselves making decisions about money from a different emotional baseline than they used to. By the third week, the alpha is consistent enough that the chosen one can feel it on their own, even without the audio. And the audio becomes a maintenance practice rather than a corrective one. The receiving has been restored. The channel is open. The kingdom is flowing in. I want to be precise again about what the wealth signal does not promise. It does not promise that you will become a millionaire in 30 days. It does not promise that money will appear in your bank account from nowhere. It does not bypass the laws of cause and effect in the physical world. What it does is restore the receiving frequency, the manifestation channel, so that when opportunities present themselves in your life, you are able to recognize them and act on them and receive them in a way that was not possible when the channel was closed. The opportunities still come from your work, your relationships, your decisions, your environment, but you can now actually receive them. You can now act on them without the underlying terror that used to short-circuit every important step. You can now hold what is being given to you instead of pushing it away with the closed hands of beta. That is what the audio actually does. It is not magic, it is mechanism, and the mechanism, once restored, changes everything downstream of it. The wealth signal is also available through the same path I described earlier at a price of $39. Original price $49, accessible price $39, same structure as the first tool. And it comes with its own set of bonus materials which I want to walk you through briefly. There are 4 bonus materials that ship with the wealth signal, and they are different in character from the bonuses that ship with the Genius Song. The first bonus is a document called the Millionaire Quick Cash Flow Blueprint, which is a step-by-step guide to a passive income method that self-made millionaires have been using to generate $3,000 to $5,000 in monthly returns. The blueprint is not theoretical. It is a system you can begin implementing in the same week you receive it. The standalone value would be $97, included free. The second bonus is an audio and video reveal of a single 5-second adjustment to the way you practice affirmations that determines whether the affirmations actually reach the subconscious or whether they slide off the surface. Most chosen ones who have ever attempted affirmations and felt that the affirmations were not working will find in this bonus the missing piece that explains why. The standalone value would be $47, included free. The third bonus is a document containing 11 quick money attraction techniques that wealthy people across cultures have been using quietly for generations. Some of them deliver a small windfall within 30 minutes of being applied. The standalone value would be $97, included free. The fourth bonus is a tell-all report on 20 different chosen ones who have used the wealth signal and experienced significant changes in their financial, relational, and creative lives within the first 90 days. The report is meant to be read in moments of doubt, when the chosen one needs to remember that the path is real. The standalone value would be $97, included free. Together, those 4 bonuses represent $338 in additional value on top of the main audio. All included with the wealth signal at the $39 price, all delivered immediately by email after purchase. The same 90-day guarantee applies. The same no questions asked refund policy. The same lifetime access. No subscription. No upsell after the fact. I want to mention, in the same spirit that I mentioned the deeper version of the Genius Song earlier, that there is also a more amplified version of the wealth signal that some chosen ones eventually feel called to explore. It carries its own name. It is reserved for those whose path requires going deeper than the original 5-minute audio takes them. You do not have to think about it now. If your spirit confirms it later, you will encounter it after you have secured the original. If your spirit does not confirm it, the original is more than enough. Many chosen ones walk the entire journey with only the original. I am only naming the existence of the deeper version because I do not want you to be surprised by it later. It is called the Wealth Signal Accelerator, and that is all I want to say about it tonight. There is also a third thing I want to plant for you, and this is the most important of the 3 to mention, because it is the path that the majority of chosen ones who walk this restoration journey actually choose. When both tools are used together, in the correct order, gamma first and alpha second, they form a complete system. The system has both an amplified version of each individual tool available to those who feel called to it, paired together that some chosen ones who go furthest tend to walk. The combined deeper path is reserved for those whose path requires going deeper than the originals offer. It is encountered after the originals are secured. The originals alone are complete. The combined deeper path is for those whose journey calls them toward the very edge of what these technologies can do. You do not need to think about that now. If it is right for you, you will know in your own time after the originals have done their initial work. Now, let me explain how the access to these tools is structured, because there is a specific architecture to it that I want you to understand before you make your choice. The 2 tools, the Genius Song and the Wealth Signal, are each available individually, each at $39, each with its own set of bonuses, each with the 90-day guarantee. So a chosen one who feels called to only one of the tools at this point in their journey can take that single tool in isolation, and that single tool will deliver what it was calibrated to deliver. The genius song alone will wake the child within. The wealth signal alone will open the manifestation channel. Either tool, on its own, is a real intervention. Either tool, on its own, is honored. There are three paths that I want to name clearly. The first path is what some chosen ones recognize as the path they need. Some chosen ones feel, when they consider the two tools, that the wake the child piece is what they need most urgently. The dimming has been so heavy for so long that the awakening is where the whole story needs to begin. For those chosen ones, the right path is the first tool alone, the genius song, the honored entry point. The first wave of restoration, it is enough by itself for the season they are in. The child wakes, the curiosity comes back, the wonder comes back, and when the channel becomes the next thing that needs attention, they will know in their own time, and they will return for the second tool when the moment is right. The second path is rarer. Some chosen ones, especially those who have already been doing significant spiritual work for years, who already have an active practice, who already feel that the child within them is largely awake, recognize that what they actually need is not the awakening, but the channel. They feel that they are already curious, already open, already imaginative. What they cannot do is receive. What they cannot do is reach for what is theirs. For those chosen ones, the right path is the second tool alone, the wealth signal, the opening of the channel, the restoration of alpha without needing the gamma intervention first. This is a less common situation than the first one, but it is a real situation, and the path is honored for the chosen ones whose journey has prepared them for it. The third path is the path that the majority of chosen ones, when they listen carefully to their own knowing, recognize as the path that is meant for them. Because the majority of chosen ones realize, when they take an honest inventory of where they are, that both halves of the engine need attention. The child is dim, the channel is closed, both at once, and the restoration needs to happen in sequence. Child first, channel second, both tools, used in order, over a period of weeks. The third path delivers both tools together with all of the bonuses from both, all 8 bonus materials combined, at a price of $78. That is the full price of both individual tools. There is no discount. There is no bundle savings. The $78 is simply what the two tools cost when added together. The third path is not a sales tactic. It is the completion of the restoration journey. It is the path that wakes the child and opens the channel and produces, over time, the full transformation that the chosen one has been seeking. Now I want to address directly the questions I know are forming inside you right now, because I have spoken to enough chosen ones to know what those questions sound like. Let me read your mind for a moment, because I am betting I can. The first question is, have I not tried things like this before? I have done meditation, I have done visualization, I have done courses, I have done affirmations, I have done yoga, I have done crystals and breath work and journaling and energy work. None of it has produced what was promised. Why would this be any different? I hear that question. I felt that question myself when I first encountered this material. Let me answer it the way I needed it answered when I was where you are. Everything you tried before was operating at the wrong layer. Meditation tries to quiet beta, but it does not generate alpha. Visualization works on gamma momentarily, but cannot sustain it. Affirmations attempt language reprogramming but cannot reach below the louder beta broadcast. Yoga relaxes the body but does not target the specific frequencies that are dimmed. Crystals and energy work operate in a layer that, even if real, is downstream of the frequencies we are talking about. The genius song and the wealth signal are different from all of those because they target the actual electrical frequencies of the brain, directly, through measurable means, with research lineages that have been verified at universities you have heard of. It is not a different version of what you tried before. It is a different category of tool, working at a deeper layer than any of the practices you have ever attempted. That is the simplest answer. The proof of it is what you experience when you use it, not what I tell you in advance. But the structure of why it is different is real, and the structure is something you can verify on your own. The second question is, this sounds too good to be true. I have learned to be skeptical of anything that promises a transformation from a single tool. How do I know this is not just another false hope I am about to be disappointed by? I hear that question too. The honest answer is that the evidence is in the form of two things. The first is the brainwave research itself, which has been replicated by independent teams at multiple institutions over decades, and which is no longer controversial inside the field that studies it. Gamma is real, alpha is real, the decline effect is real, the stress signal is real, brain entrainment is real. These are not hypotheses being marketed. These are findings being delivered. The second piece of evidence is the combined experience of nearly 38,000 chosen ones who have used the two tools, between them, with refund rates below 5%. That is data. That is not a sales pitch. That is what the actual usage numbers tell us. If the tools were not delivering what they promise, those refund rates would be much higher. Consumer behavior in this category is very predictable. People return products that do not work. The fact that the products are not being returned at significant rates tells you something specific about what they do. The third question is about money. You are thinking, $39 is not a small amount of money for me right now. $78 is significantly more. I have to be careful about what I spend. How do I know this is worth the risk? I want to honor that question because financial pressure is one of the most real pressures a chosen one carries, and I do not want to disrespect your situation by pretending that the price is trivial. Let me give you a few frames that I hope are useful. If the first tool at $39 is what feels right for you, you are spending the equivalent of about 10 cents a day across a single year of lifetime access. That is less than what you would spend on a single coffee in any major city in the world. If the third path, the complete restoration, at $78 is what feels right for you, you are spending the equivalent of about 21 cents a day across a single year. For both tools, with all of the bonuses, with the 90-day guarantee. That is roughly the cost of a single piece of candy at most checkout counters. I do not say this to belittle the $78. The $78 is real money. I say it to give you a frame of reference against which the cost can be evaluated. And I want you to know that the 90-day guarantee is genuine. If you take either tool or both, and at the end of 3 months you do not feel that they have done what was described, you can return them for a full refund. No questions asked. You keep the bonuses regardless. The financial risk is, in actual terms, zero. The only thing you cannot get back is the time you did not spend using them. But that is a different question. The fourth question is the one I expect to land hardest, and I want to handle it carefully. The question is, why 2 tools? Why not 1? Why does the journey require both, when other things I have tried have promised a single intervention? The question is reasonable. The question is, in fact, the most reasonable question on the list. Let me answer it precisely. The two tools target two different frequencies in two different regions of the brain through two different mechanisms. The Genius Song targets gamma, primarily through binaural brain entrainment, restoring the child mind frequency that was dimmed by the decline effect. The Wealth Signal targets alpha, primarily through calibrated audio paired with the 9-word script, restoring the receiving frequency that was suppressed by chronic beta hyperactivity. The two frequencies are not interchangeable. The two regions are not the same. The two mechanisms cannot be combined into a single audio without diluting the effect of both. So the architecture requires two separate tools. The sequence of using them also matters. The Genius Song goes first, because alpha cannot be restored to a brain whose gamma is still suppressed. The adult brain, without restored gamma, does not have the capacity to truly receive. You can open the channel, but if the child within is still asleep, the opening produces little. The child has to wake before the receiving can land in a meaningful way. That is why the order is what it is. Wake first, receive second. Become like a little child first, then enter the kingdom that is yours. The order is not a marketing decision. It is what the architecture of the human nervous system actually requires. And if your budget only allows for one tool in this season, then the right starting place is the Genius Song. Because the Genius Song alone wakes the child, and the child within, once awake, will start producing the kind of inner changes that justify, in their own time, the addition of the second tool, when the moment is right. I want to give you one more thing before we move toward the close of this message. Because there is something that the chosen ones often need to hear when they are sitting in this exact moment, holding the choice in their hands. The thing is this: the cost of waiting is not zero. Each day that passes without intervention is another day that the stress signal continues to broadcast and the decline effect continues to deepen. Each day, the child within sleeps a little longer. Each day, the channel closes a little tighter. The drift is small from one day to the next. It is almost imperceptible, but it compounds over months and years. And the chosen ones, who delayed their restoration for several years before finally beginning the work, often report that the delay was the most painful part of the whole journey. Not because they could not catch up, because they did catch up. The tools still worked when they finally used them. But because the years of delay were years of unnecessary suffering, the aching, the dimming, the closed hands, the unmet hunger, all of that continued during the years of delay when it could have begun resolving from the moment the chosen one took the first step. I am not saying this to pressure you. I am not creating false urgency. There is no countdown clock. There is no limited supply. The audio files are digital. They will be there if you decide to take them tomorrow, or next week, or next month. The window I am pointing at is not external. It is internal. The window I am pointing at is the moment, right now, when you are listening to this message with an unusually open chest and an unusually quiet, skeptical voice. That moment is rare. That moment is what the contemplatives call kairos, the right time for action, as distinct from chronos, the ordinary passage of clock time. Kairos comes only sometimes. Chronos goes on forever. Most chosen ones, when they look back at the moments of real transformation in their lives, can point to a single window of kairos that they either walked through or did not walk through. The ones who walked through say it changed everything. The ones who did not walk through say they spent the next several years circling the same window, waiting for it to open again, and it did not open the same way twice. The future version of you, the one who has done the work and is living in the restored frequency, is watching the present version of you right now. The future version of you is saying, please, please walk through. Please do not put this aside. Please do not click away and pretend you did not hear what you heard. There is something else I have to mention, and I want to mention it gently but clearly, because there are forces in the marketplace that I have to warn you about. The Genius Song and the Wealth Signal have, in the time since they were released, attracted a number of imitations and false versions. There are websites that have set up to mimic the original products with similar names and similar imagery that do not contain the actual brain entrainment calibration or the actual alpha frequency restoration that the real products contain. They are essentially generic audio files dressed up to look like the originals. They will not produce the results that the real tools produce, because the calibration is what does the work, and the imitations do not have the calibration. I am telling you this not to create paranoia, but to make sure that if you decide to take the path tonight, you find your way to the actual originals and not to one of the imitations. The only way to access the genuine versions of both tools, with all of the bonus materials, with the 90-day guarantee, is through the path that I will describe in just a moment. You will not find them in their genuine form on Amazon, on Spotify, on any major audio platform, or through any general search result. If you search for them through a search engine, you will likely encounter the imitations first, because the imitations have been optimized for search visibility. Do not be misled. The real tools are available only through the path that is provided beneath this video. That path is in two places, for your protection and for ease of access. The first place is in the description of this video, immediately below where you are watching. The second place is in the pinned comment, which is the very first comment under this video. Both of those locations contain a link to a page where the three paths I described earlier are laid out clearly. The first path, for the chosen ones who feel called to begin with the awakening of the child alone. The second path, for the rare chosen ones whose situation calls for the channel alone. The third path, for the majority of chosen ones who recognize that both halves of the engine need attention and want to walk the complete restoration journey. The page does not pressure you. The page does not push you toward any particular path. The page presents the three paths and trusts you to know which one your spirit is calling you toward. You are the one who chooses, nobody else. I want to give you a moment to actually feel into the decision. Not to rush, not to react, not to click out of impulse, to feel. Close your eyes for a few seconds if you can, while keeping the audio playing, and notice what comes up when you think about each of the three paths. Notice which one your chest leans toward. Notice which one your breath relaxes into. Notice which one feels like it has been waiting for you for a long time. Your spirit already knows. Your spirit knew before this video began. The video has only confirmed, with names and structure and research lineage, what your spirit has been telling you in quieter ways for months or years. Trust the leaning, trust the relaxation, trust the recognition. And when you have felt it clearly, when you have noticed which path is yours, take the small physical action of opening the description or the pinned comment, finding the link, and walking through. The walkthrough is brief. The page is simple. You select the path that your spirit confirmed. You complete the transaction. You receive the audio files and the bonuses and the access instructions by email immediately. There is no waiting period. There is no shipment to track. By the time you finish this video, if you choose to walk through tonight, the tools will already be in your inbox, ready for you to begin using as soon as you are ready. Some chosen ones begin the same evening. Some chosen ones wait until the next morning. Some chosen ones wait several days to fully prepare themselves. There is no wrong rhythm. The tools will be there whenever you are ready to begin. While you consider, I want to ask you to do 3 small things for the chosen ones who are still finding their way to this message. Because you have been led here, and you have heard what was meant for you, and the same architecture that led you here is leading others, and the small actions you take in the next few minutes will help the message reach the ones who need it next. The first small thing is to leave a comment under this video. Not a long comment, a single sentence. Something like, "I am chosen," "I am claimed," "I am awake," or something like, "I am stepping through the door tonight," or whatever phrase is rising in you right now as the truest summary of where you are. The comment matters because the algorithm of this platform watches for engagement, and your single sentence helps lift this message into the feeds of the next chosen one who needs to find it. You will never meet that person, but your sentence will reach them, and they will know, when they see it, that they are not alone. That is the first small thing. The second small thing is to press the like button. Not because I need affirmation, I do not, but because the like is a kind of agreement. It is a way of saying, this message belongs in front of more eyes. It is a small offering of attention, the smallest one available to you on this platform, and the system uses it to decide what to do with this video next. Every chosen one who has been touched by this message can pass it forward by lifting one finger and tapping. That is the second small thing. The third small thing is to subscribe to this channel, if you have not already. The reason is not for me. The reason is for you. Because the messages on this channel are calibrated for the chosen ones, and there will be more of them, and you will want to be in the place where they arrive when they arrive. Subscribing is the smallest possible commitment to your own ongoing path. It does not cost anything. It does not require anything from you. It simply means that when the next message lands, you do not have to find it. It will find you. And given what we have just walked through about how this video found you tonight, you can probably feel the importance of being in the stream where the next ones will appear. That is the third small thing. And then the fourth thing, which is the one I do not call small, is to walk through to the page that is beneath this video and to look at the three paths. To choose the one your spirit confirmed. To begin the restoration of what was always yours. That is the fourth thing. It is the largest one. It is the one I cannot do for you, even if I wanted to. It is the choice that belongs entirely to you. Before we close out, I want to tell you about a few of the chosen ones who have walked this path ahead of you. Not to convince you, you are already convinced, in the deeper place where conviction matters, to witness. Because witnessing what other chosen ones have experienced becomes, in your nervous system, a kind of permission. The kind of permission that lets you imagine the same thing happening for you. There was a woman in her late 40s who came to the two-wave path after almost 2 decades of trying every kind of spiritual work the marketplace had to offer. She had done yoga teacher trainings, 3 different meditation retreats, a long stretch of therapy, several courses on the law of attraction, 2 ayahuasca journeys in different countries, and what she described as more affirmation routines than she could count. None of it had landed in a permanent way. The benefits would last a few weeks, sometimes a few months, and then she would feel herself sliding back into the same low-grade exhaustion that she had been carrying since her early 30s. When she found her way to the Genius song, she said the first week was unusual. She did not feel the dramatic emotional release she had felt with some of the other things she had tried. She felt, instead, a kind of quietness, a sense that something inside her had begun to settle in a way that she could not explain. By the 3rd week, she noticed that her dreams had become more vivid than they had been in years. By the 5th week, she said the curiosity returned. She would walk through her own neighborhood and notice details she had not noticed in a decade. The shapes of trees, the colors of doors, the faces of the dogs that were being walked by their owners. The world had become interesting again, in a way that it had not been since she was very young. When she added the wealth signal a few months later, she said something else began to change. The financial pressure she had been carrying since her divorce, a pressure that had become so familiar, she had stopped noticing it, the way a person stops noticing the weight of their own clothes, began to loosen. Not because money rained down on her, it did not. The loosening was internal first. She started making decisions about her work from a different baseline. She raised her prices for the services she offered. The clients said yes. She declined a contract that she had been about to take out of fear. A better one appeared within a week. By the end of the first year on both tools, she said her income had nearly doubled, and her relationship with money was unrecognizable from what it had been when she began. There was a man in his early 60s who came to the path after a very different journey. He was a retired engineer, skeptical by temperament. He had spent his career in a world where claims required evidence, and the spiritual marketplace had always made him uncomfortable. What brought him to the Genius song was a Christmas conversation with his daughter, who had been using it for several months, and who had said something that he could not get out of his head. She had said, "Dad, I am back. I do not know how else to say it. I am back." He listened to the audio for the first time on a Sunday afternoon. He listened to it again the next morning. By the end of the week, he said the world looked different to him. Not in any way that he could measure with the part of his mind he had trusted his whole career. In a different way, a way that the engineer in him had no language for. He kept using the audio. The transformation in him was slower than it had been in his daughter. He attributed that to the years of dimming that had stacked up across decades of professional discipline that had quietly drained his gamma without him noticing. But by month 3, he reported that he had begun writing poetry, something he had not done since he was 18 years old. The poetry was bad, he said, but it was the first thing he had done in 45 years that did not have an instrumental purpose. He was doing it because the child within him wanted to do it, and that was, in his words, more transformative than anything that had happened to him in retirement. There was a woman in her early 30s who came to the path through a sequence of synchronicities that she said were too many to dismiss. She had been hearing the term wealth signal in her dreams for 3 nights in a row without knowing what it referred to. When she came across the video, she bought the second tool without hesitation. Her experience was unusual in that the change began very quickly. By the 3rd session, she said she could feel the channel opening. She described it as a softening in her sternum that had not been there before, accompanied by an unfamiliar feeling of permission. Permission to want what she wanted. Permission to ask for what she needed. Permission to let people give to her without rushing to give back. Within the first month, she said 3 significant things had happened that she could not explain through ordinary causality. A man she had not seen in a decade reached out to offer her a partnership in a project that was perfectly aligned with what she had been quietly hoping to build. Her landlord, without being asked, reduced her rent because of a small fluctuation in the property assessment that had favored him, and a check in the amount of $1,700 arrived from a refund she had completely forgotten about from a tax filing 2 years prior. None of these things, individually, was a miracle. Collectively, in the same month, after a decade of nothing similar happening, she said it felt like the universe had finally remembered her address. The wealth signal alone, in her case, had been the missing piece. The gamma was already alive in her. The receiving had been the locked gate, and the gate had finally opened. There was a man in his mid-40s who took the 3rd path, the full 2-wave journey, when he encountered it. He had been recently divorced. He had been working in a job that did not fit him. He had been, by his own account, in the most directionless season of his entire adult life. The combination of both tools, used in the correct order over the course of 6 months, restored something in him that he said he had not felt since he was a teenager. A sense of being on the path. A sense that there was a direction he was supposed to be walking in. The direction did not arrive as a thunderbolt of clarity, it arrived as a series of small confirmations. A conversation with a stranger at a coffee shop that pointed him toward a field he had not considered. A book that fell off the shelf at a library and that contained, in the middle chapter, the exact framework he had been searching for. A dream of his grandfather, who had been dead for 15 years, telling him that he was almost there. The combination of the gamma reactivation and the alpha restoration, he said, had made him available to the guidance that had probably been trying to reach him for years. He could not have heard it before. The stress signal had been too loud. The child within had been too sleepy. With both restored, he became, in his words, finally tunable to the frequency of his own life. He is now in a career that he loves. He is in a relationship that feels right. He has not been wealthy in the conventional sense, but he has been settled, and the settling has been worth more to him than any external marker of success could have been. I could give you more stories. I am stopping at 4 because the pattern is the same across all of them, and I do not want the testimonies to become noise. The pattern is this: the path works. The tools do what they are designed to do. The restoration happens at the pace that each chosen one's nervous system can handle, sometimes fast, sometimes slow, but reliably over the course of months. And the chosen ones who have walked it are not asked to believe in anything they cannot verify in their own experience. They are simply asked to use the tools in the correct order, with consistency, and to let the work happen. There is one more thing I want to address, because I have heard it raised by enough chosen ones that I know it is sitting on the surface of some of your minds right now. Some of you, especially those of you raised in the church, are wondering whether what we are talking about tonight conflicts with your faith, whether spiritual technology of this kind is somehow at odds with the tradition you came up in. I want to answer that question directly. The honest answer is no. There is no conflict. There is, in fact, a deep alignment. And I want to take a moment to articulate it for you, because I do not want any chosen one to walk away from what was meant for them tonight because of a worry that turns out to have no foundation. The tradition you came up in has always taught that you were made in the image of something larger than yourself, that you were known by name before you were born, that you have a purpose that was prepared in advance, that the kingdom of heaven is not somewhere you go after you die, but something you enter in your own life, here on earth, by becoming again what you originally were before the world started shaping you into something else. All of those teachings are exactly aligned with what we have been talking about tonight. The two-wave path is not in conflict with the tradition. It is a precision implementation of the tradition. The tools we are talking about do not replace prayer. They do not replace scripture. They do not replace the relationships you have with the figures of your faith. They simply restore the neurological substrate inside which prayer becomes audible, scripture becomes alive, and the relationship becomes a felt presence rather than an article of belief. The chosen ones who have used these tools and who came from a Christian background almost universally report that their prayer life deepened after the restoration, not weakened. They could finally feel the listening on the other side. They could finally sense the response. The closed channel had been the obstacle. With the channel opened, the faith that they had been holding by an effort of will began to become a faith that they could feel. There is no conflict, chosen one. The traditions agree. The science agrees. The wisdom keepers agree. The experience of the chosen ones who have walked this path agrees. All of it points in the same direction. And the direction is the doorway beneath this video, leading to the page that holds the three paths. I want to give you one more frame before we move into the close. Because I know there are some of you for whom money is the real obstacle, and you are running calculations right now, trying to figure out whether you can actually do this. I want to honor that, and I want to make sure you hear me say this clearly. If, after considering everything, the money is genuinely not available for either tool right now, that is okay. The path is not closed to you. The recognition you received tonight stays with you. The activation that has begun stays with you. The seal that has been placed stays with you. You can take what was given for free tonight, the words, the framework, the recognition, and you can carry it forward into your life, and the carrying itself will produce real change. The tools accelerate the change and make it more reliable, but the change can also happen more slowly. Without them, if you continue to seek and to listen and to follow the thread that brought you here, do not let financial pressure convince you that you have been excluded from what was offered tonight. You have not been excluded. You have received the first deliverable. The recognition is the first deliverable. Everything else is acceleration. Do what is right for you in this season. And when the season changes, if it does, the tools will still be available, and the path will still be there. The universe is patient. It is more patient than we sometimes give it credit for being. For those of you whose budget does allow for this, however small the available margin may be, I want to encourage you not to wait. Not because of any external urgency, because the internal urgency is real. The chosen ones, who delayed and then eventually came back to begin the work, all said, with consistency, that they wished they had begun sooner. The aching during the delay had been the most expensive part of the journey, not the price of the tools. The aching cost them months and sometimes years of the restored frequency that they could have been living in. If you can, begin tonight. If tonight is not the right night, then begin tomorrow. If tomorrow is not right, then begin this week. The sooner the work begins, the sooner the restoration completes. That is the only timing principle that matters. And once you have begun, do not measure the restoration day by day. The day-by-day measurement will frustrate you. The changes are real, but they are layered, and they unfold in waves rather than in a straight line. Measure month by month. Compare where you are at the end of month 1 to where you were when you started. Compare month 3 to month 1. Compare month 6 to month 3. The trajectory will be unmistakable. The chosen ones who looked at their lives in 3-month increments saw the restoration with clarity. The chosen ones who tried to measure it daily got discouraged in the middle of week 2 because the restoration does not show up linearly. It shows up in waves, with pauses between waves, and the pauses can feel like nothing is happening when actually integration is happening underneath the surface. Be patient, be consistent, use the audio daily in whatever short window you can find, even if it is only the first 7 minutes of your morning. Consistency is what restores frequency. Sporadic use will produce sporadic results. Daily use will produce reliable results. That is the only protocol that matters. Daily, brief, consistent, and the restoration will follow on its own schedule. Now I want to bring this entire message together before we move into the closing of what has been one of the most important conversations you and I will ever have. Because I want you to leave this video tonight with a sense of completeness, a sense that what has been opened has also been answered, a sense that the recognition you walked in with has been honored, the questions you carried have been addressed, and the path forward has been placed in your hands. Listen carefully now, chosen one. Listen to what you are becoming. Who is the new you? The new you is a person whose mornings begin with curiosity instead of dread. The new you is a person who wakes up and feels, in the first few seconds of consciousness, a kind of quiet eagerness for what the day might contain. Not the desperate eagerness of someone hoping a hard day will get better, a different kind. The eagerness of a child looking at a familiar room and noticing, again, that it is filled with possibility. That is the gamma signature, returned to its natural place. That is what the restoration of the child mind looks like when it lands in a daily life. The first hour of the morning is the place you will notice it most. It is the most reliable indicator that the restoration is taking hold. Who is the new you? The new you is a person whose chest is no longer locked. For most of your adult life, there has been a band of tension across your chest that you have learned to live with so completely that you stopped noticing it. The tension was the stress signal expressing itself in your body. It was the beta hyperactivity locking your nervous system into survival mode, hour after hour, day after day, year after year. The new you has the band gone, the chest is wide. The breath goes all the way down. The shoulders settle into a position that you may not have felt them in since you were very young. The body becomes a place you can live in again, instead of a place you have been holding hostage to your anxiety. That is the alpha signature, returned to its natural place. That is what the opening of the manifestation channel looks like when it lands in a daily life. Who is the new you? The new you is a person who can be present with the people they love. Fully present, not half there, not running calculations in the background while pretending to listen. Genuinely, completely there. The new you is a person whose children, if you have children, can finally feel themselves being seen by you, sometimes for the first time in years. The new you is a person whose partner, if you have a partner, notices a quality of presence that they have not felt from you in a long time, maybe never. The new you is a person who can sit with an old parent, or an old friend, or a young grandchild, and the time spent does not feel like time pressure. It feels like time as it was meant to be experienced. Slow, full, sacred. Who is the new you? The new you is a person who makes decisions and trusts them. The new you does not lie awake at night, reviewing the choices of the day, looking for the one that was wrong. The new you decides from a deeper place than the anxious mind, and the deeper place gets it right almost always. And on the rare occasions when it does not get it right, the new you forgives the small error and moves on, because the deeper place is not interested in perfection. The deeper place is interested in alignment, and alignment is what the new you walks in hour by hour, almost without thinking about it. Who is the new you? The new you is a person who can receive. The new you can be given a compliment without deflecting. The new you can be given a gift without immediately measuring whether you have given enough in return. The new you can be given a piece of good news, an opportunity, an invitation, a window of grace, and you can simply take it. You can simply hold it. You can simply allow it to be yours. The old you would have flinched. The old you would have minimized. The old you would have pushed the good thing away with the hand of underservingness that has been clenched for decades. The new you opens the hand. The new you holds what is given. The new you says, "Thank you," and means it, all the way down to the floor of the chest. Who is the new you? The new you is a person whose relationship with money has changed at the level of the nervous system. Not because the new you is greedy. The new you is not. The new you is generous, actually, more generous than the old you ever was, because generosity is what happens when you stop being terrified of scarcity. The new you can look at a bank account, a bill, a financial decision, and feel something other than the spike of fear that used to be the only response available to you. The new you can plan, the new you can give, the new you can hold, the new you can earn and receive, without the underlying conviction that the earning will somehow be taken away. The relationship with money is not a money problem, it is a frequency problem. And when the frequency is restored, the relationship resolves on its own, more slowly than you would like at first, but unmistakably over months and years. Who is the new you? The new you is a person whose body finally believes that it is safe. The body has been the place where the survival mode was stored. The body has been carrying the stress that the conscious mind kept trying to think its way out of. The body is the last to forgive in most cases. But when the gamma comes back and the alpha returns, the body finally gets the signal. The signal is, you are safe. The signal is, you can rest now. The signal is, the war is over. And the body responds, sometimes within weeks, sometimes within months, with a quality of well-being that the new you may not have felt in their body since they were very young. Sleep deepens, digestion settles, the chronic small inflammations begin to soften. Energy comes back, not in dramatic surges, in a steady baseline that the old you had forgotten was even possible. That is the new you, restored at the level of the physical organism. Who is the new you? The new you is a person whose sense of self is no longer fragile. The old you, despite whatever surface confidence you displayed, was carrying a fragile core. The fragile core was the part of you that had to be defended constantly against criticism, against rejection, against being seen as inadequate. The new you does not have the fragile core anymore. The new you has a different core, a core that is rooted in the recognition that you are claimed by something larger than this world, that your name is written in a different book, that your worth is not a measurement that the world is allowed to take. The new you can be criticized without collapsing. The new you can be rejected without spiraling. The new you can be misunderstood without rushing to explain, because the new you is anchored, finally, to the source that gave you your name, and the source does not require external validation. The recognition has happened. The recognition is permanent. The new you walks through the world with that permanent recognition humming underneath every encounter. Who is the new you? The new you is a person who can pray and feel the prayer landing somewhere. For some of you, this is the deepest hunger of all. The hunger to feel that your prayers go somewhere, that they are heard, that they reach a presence that is real and that is listening. The closed channel has been the obstacle. Beta has been the wall that the prayers were bouncing off of. With alpha restored, the prayers go through. The presence on the other side becomes accessible again, and the new you can speak into the silence and feel the silence become a conversation. That is one of the most precious gifts of the entire restoration, and it is the one that the chosen ones who were raised in the church often feel most gratefully, because it is the gift that they had been told they should have all along, the gift that they had been wondering, in private, why they could not seem to have. The gift was always available. The channel was the obstacle, and the channel can be opened. I could continue. There are more layers to the new you than I can name in a single video. But the ones I have named are enough to give you the shape of what is on the other side of the path. You are not just buying audio files. You are not just trying another product. You are walking through a doorway that opens onto a life you have been mourning the absence of, without knowing what it was you were mourning. The mourning ends, slowly, as you walk through the door. The grief that you did not know was grief begins to release. The aching that you have been carrying since you were a child begins to settle into its rest. And what replaces all of it is the person you were originally supposed to be. The chosen one whose name was written into the book of life before the foundation of the world. The child of light whose return is the only homecoming that has ever mattered. Now, I want to bring us into the closing ceremony. Because every gathering of chosen ones, at the end of any meaningful transmission, deserves a closing. The closing is not optional. The closing is the part where what has been spoken gets sealed, gets activated, gets blessed, gets sent forward into the days that follow. Without the closing, the words remain words. With the closing, the words become a living thing inside you, working on their own, long after the video ends. I want you to take a breath now, a real one, the deepest breath you can take. And as you take it, I want you to declare, out loud if you can, even if it is only a whisper, the following words. I am chosen. I have been claimed. I am awake. I am open. I am ready to receive what is mine. Hear those words land. Notice the difference in your body now versus the body you had when you opened this video. Notice the slight tilt in the posture. Notice the slight loosening in the jaw. Notice the way the chest is sitting a little higher than it was. Those small physical changes are the first signatures of the restoration that is beginning. They will deepen in the days that follow, especially if you walk through the path beneath this video and begin the actual work. But they have already started, just from the act of listening with an open chest for the past hour. Your nervous system has already begun to update. Your gamma has already started to stir. Your alpha has already begun to come back online. The full restoration takes weeks. The first signature of the restoration is taking place inside you, right now, as I speak. So let us complete the ceremony. Let me speak the declaration over you, so that what has been opened tonight gets formally claimed, in the way the old traditions have always claimed sacred moments. You, chosen one, are declared to be exactly who you have always known yourself to be, even when the world told you otherwise. You are declared to be a child of light, a carrier of the original frequency, a soul whose name was spoken before the stars were placed in the sky. You are declared to be awake. You are declared to be open. You are declared to be on the path that was prepared for you before you were born. You are declared to be no longer alone in your knowing. You are declared to be part of a generation of chosen ones who are waking simultaneously across every country and every culture and every tradition, in a wave that is rising as we speak. You are declared to be in your kairos, your season of grace, your moment of crossing. The window is open. You are standing in it. The crossing is being made. Now hear the activation. The activation is the part of the closing where what has been declared gets switched on, gets brought into operation, gets moved from the realm of words into the realm of living current inside your body. Place a hand on your chest if you can while you listen to the next words. Let the hand be a witness to what is being switched on inside you. I activate within you the frequency of the awakened child. I activate the gamma that has been dormant since the year the world began dimming you. I activate the curiosity, the wonder, the openness, the imagination, the magical seeing that was your birthright, and that has been waiting in the back room of your own awareness for decades. I activate in your nervous system the natural state of childlike availability to the world. Feel that activation move through you. Feel it land in the shoulders. Feel it settle into the breath. Feel it begin to hum underneath the skin of the chest. The frequency is coming back online. The signal is being transmitted. Even now, while you sit listening, I activate within you the channel of receiving. I activate the alpha that has been blocked by the stress signal for as long as you can remember. I activate the open hand. I activate the unclenching of the chest. I activate the soft, trusting, allowing state that lets the kingdom flow into the life of the chosen one without resistance. I activate the receiving that has been refused, the gifts that have been deflected, the love that has been minimized, the abundance that has been pushed away at the threshold. I activate the ability to take, to hold, to keep what is being given. Feel that activation arrive. Feel the channel beginning to open. Feel the hand at your chest soften slightly as the receiving frequency lands. The flow is being restored. The drawbridge is lowering. The gate that has been closed for years is opening tonight, in this moment, with you on the threshold, and the kingdom on the other side. I activate within you the memory of who you are. I activate the part of you that knows the original name. I activate the deep mind that has been waiting for permission to speak. I activate the inner witness that has watched you live as the constructed self for so long and that is finally being given the floor. I activate in the body the awareness that you are claimed, that you are loved, that you were never alone. Even in the seasons when you felt most invisible, most overlooked, most forgotten by anyone who mattered, the awareness is being switched on inside you. The witness is rising. The constructed self is loosening its grip. And underneath it, the original you, the one who came in carrying the full frequency of the child of light, is preparing to step forward into the life that has been waiting for her. I activate the path ahead. I activate the doors that have been closed and that will, in their own time, begin opening as the restoration takes hold. I activate the people who are meant to find you, the conversations that are meant to land, the opportunities that are meant to arrive, the synchronicities that are meant to confirm. I activate the quiet flow that begins to weave itself into the days of a chosen one who has stepped fully into the path. I activate the rebuilding of what was almost lost and the unbuilding of what was never yours in the first place. The activation is real. The activation is happening now. You will feel it in the days ahead, not all at once, but in waves, as your nervous system catches up to what has been declared and activated over you tonight. Now hear the blessing. The blessing is the part where the chosen one is wrapped in protection for the journey ahead, because the path that begins tonight is real. And the path requires the kind of protection that the old traditions always understood needed to be spoken over a person at the moment of crossing. May you be protected, chosen one, from the voices that will rise inside you in the days ahead trying to convince you that what happened tonight was not real. May you be protected from the cynicism that you have used to keep yourself safe for so long, that voice that will try to dismiss everything I have said and everything you felt and everything you knew was true while you were listening. May the cynicism be quieted. May the knowing be louder. May the recognition that has been received tonight stay rooted, even when the old patterns of doubt try to pull it out. May you be protected from the discouragement that arrives, sometimes in the early days of any restoration. There will be moments, especially in the first 2 or 3 weeks, when the change feels slow, when you wonder whether anything is actually happening, when the old conditions of your life seem unchanged. May the protection cover you in those moments. May you remember, in those moments, that the work is happening below the surface, that the nervous system is recalibrating in layers, that the visible changes are downstream of the invisible changes, and that the invisible changes have already begun. May you be protected from the people, even the people who love you, who do not understand what you are doing. They will not understand. They will not be able to. Some of them will try to talk you out of it. Some of them will mock it. Some of them will simply look uncomfortable when you mention it. May you be protected from needing their permission. May you walk the path even when those around you cannot see what you see. The chosen ones have always walked their paths partly alone. That is part of what makes them chosen. May you not be derailed by the loneliness of being early to a knowing that the people around you have not yet arrived at. May you be protected, finally, from yourself, from the part of you that has always undone the good things, that has self-sabotaged at the threshold of breakthrough, that has refused to receive at exactly the moment when receiving was about to change everything. May that part of you be loved, addressed, soothed, and quieted. May the receiving be allowed to happen tonight without that part of you intervening to refuse it. May the channel stay open. May the awakening stay alive. May the new you be allowed to emerge and stay emerged, even when the old you tries to pull her back into hiding. Now, Hear the sealing. The sealing is the final element of the ceremony. The sealing is the part where what has been declared, activated, and blessed gets sealed in. It is what the old traditions used to do at the end of a sacred moment to prevent the moment from leaking out, from dissipating, from being lost to the noise of ordinary life. The sealing makes what happened permanent. What has happened in the last hour is now sealed inside you. The recognition is sealed. The declaration is sealed. The activation is sealed. The blessing is sealed. The knowing that you have been guided here tonight by a hand older than algorithms, that you have been singled out from a generation of sleepers, that you have been claimed by a source that knows you by name, that you have been given access to the tools that wake the child and open the channel, that you have been ushered into your kairos, your season of crossing, your moment of grace. All of it is sealed inside you now, sealed in your nervous system, sealed in your breath, sealed in the inner room of your own awareness, where the original you has been waiting. Nothing that has been said tonight will be lost. Nothing that has been transmitted tonight will leak out. The seal holds, and as the seal is set, the path beneath this video remains open for as long as you need it to. The choice of how to walk forward from here is in your hands. If your spirit confirmed the first path, the awakening of the child alone, then walk through to the page and step into that path. If your spirit confirmed the second path, the opening of the channel alone, walk through and step into that one. If your spirit confirmed the third path, the complete restoration, the full two-wave journey, the wake and the receive together, walk through and step into that. None of the paths is wrong. The right path is the one your spirit recognized while you were listening. Trust the recognition. Whatever path you choose, the link beneath this video, in the description, and the link in the pinned comment both lead to the same place. The page presents all three paths. You select the one that is yours. The transaction is brief. The delivery is immediate. The journey, once begun, takes weeks to fully unfold. But the first session begins as soon as you put on the headphones, and the first signature of the restoration begins as soon as the audio starts to play. I want to say one final thing before we close, because I know that there is a chosen one listening to this who is about to click away without walking through the door. There is something inside you that is whispering, "I will come back to this later. I will think about it. I will sit with it for a few days." The whisper is the old pattern speaking. The whisper is the survival mode that has kept you stuck for years, dressing itself up as wisdom, telling you to wait, to be careful, to not rush, to think it over. I want you to recognize that whisper for what it is. It is the part of you that has prevented you from receiving for your entire adult life. It is the closed hand. It is the rigid thalamus. It is the stress signal trying to keep you safe by keeping you small. And in this moment, while the kairos is open and the recognition is fresh and the door beneath the video is still right there, I am asking you to do something different than what you have always done. I am asking you to walk through tonight, not tomorrow, not next week, tonight, while the chest is open, while the seal is fresh, while the chosen one inside you is alert and present and saying yes to her own life for what may be the first time in a very long time. Walk through. Walk through now. If you are walking through, leave a small word in the comments beneath this video so that the other chosen ones know that another one has crossed. A single word. Crossed, or claimed, or yes, or here. Whatever feels true. The word you leave will become a marker on the trail for the next chosen one who arrives. They will see your word. They will know that someone before them stood where they are standing now and stepped through. Your word becomes their permission. The permission you needed someone to give you Tonight you give to someone else. That is how the wave moves forward. One chosen, one at a time. One word in the comments at a time. One crossing at a time. I love you, chosen one. I love the path that has brought you here. I love the courage it has taken for you to stay listening, to stay receiving, to stay open through this entire hour when so many would have closed up at the first reference to anything that sounded spiritual or scientific or unfamiliar. You stayed. That alone tells me everything I need to know about who you are. You are a soul who is finally ready. A soul who has been preparing for this moment for years and is no longer willing to delay. A soul who recognized her own name when she heard it spoken tonight and who is not going to pretend anymore that she did not hear it. Go gently in the next 24 hours. Be tender with yourself. The restoration that has begun tonight, even before you put on the headphones, is a real shift, and shifts of this magnitude require a kind of softness around them. Drink water. Sleep when you can. Be patient with the parts of you that may feel a little disoriented as the old conditioning starts to loosen its grip. The disorientation is a sign that the system is updating. It will pass. It will pass into something cleaner. Trust the process. The new you is on her way. She is closer than she has ever been. She is, in some ways, already here. I will see you in the next message, chosen one. Whenever you find your way to it, the path continues. The wave keeps rising. There is more to be revealed in time, and you are on the list of the ones who will hear it when it arrives. Subscribe to this channel so that the next transmission lands in your feed when the moment is right. Like this video if it has reached you. Leave the small word in the comments and walk through the door beneath. Tonight if you can, tomorrow if you must. But walk through. The kingdom that has been on the other side of the wall is closer than you have allowed yourself to believe. The wall is being lowered. The crossing is being made. You are no longer the one watching the wave, you are on it. The blessing of the source goes with you. The recognition of heaven covers you. The original name has been spoken back into the room. The frequency that was lost is being restored. The child within is waking. The channel is opening. The kingdom is flowing in. The chosen one is coming home.